How to buy your first investment property without a bank. Hey gang, this is Mike with MrNoFluff.com, and today I'm going to be talking about how I bought my very first investment property back in the last crash, 2006, fourth quarter, 2007, 2008, and moving forward, without using my own credit, without begging a bank, please can I get a loan, please can I get a loan, without having 20% down, without having the whole purchase price, and without using any company or myself, again, credit. I mean, it's very important because many people think because they don't have the credit or they don't have the purchasing power of investment properties, they can't get into the business. So I'm gonna pop all those myths for you and explain how I got my very first investment property back in the last crash without going to a bank or a lender or getting a mortgage. Now, what I'm going to talk about may seem like a disbelief, like this can't really happen because it's not the traditional way. For example, the traditional way is to go to junior high, to go to high school, to get a college, and then work for the man in the cubicle. That's a traditional way. If someone says, look, you can beat your dreams and you don't have to work for the man, you don't have to sit in traffic, you don't have to do all the stuff, get into debt, thousands of dollars, most people say, no, that doesn't work, because the traditional way is school, college, and cubicle. Okay? Now, I'm here to tell you that I never went the traditional way, in the sense that I never got a job, never worked for the man, and since high school I've been an entrepreneur. Okay, that said, same thing in real estate investing. The traditional way, which is hire a real estate agent, go get into debt, borrow money from a bank, and then buy a house, is what the normal way people think of doing business is. But the untraditional way is where the gold is where the gemstone is where the nugget is, if I can say that. Now, let's get into it. The way that I bought houses from rental properties without using a bank is I focus all my energy on working with homeowners direct. What that means is I spend money in marketing to find what's called motivated home sellers. These are people that must sell their home, and they're in a situation where they have to sell their home. Now, the situation might be a financial situation, like they don't have enough money, they got fired, they're behind in payments. Or it can be an emotional motivation, like they just lost their husband or their wife or their kids or their grandparents. It could be emotional, like they're going to a divorce. It doesn't matter, because the business that I am, the way that I buy houses without a bank, is I become what's called the pawn shop of real estate. And I've termed that word since I started this YouTube channel, the pawn shop of real estate. What that means is I only buy homes from what's called motivated sellers that must sell their home, and they're super motivated and they're trying to solve their problem. And what I do is I become a problem solver, and I solve their problem. And a problem solver is not focused about what the repair value is. It's not really focused about the ARB. It's not focused about all these other things that a traditional investor may have to focus on. For example, a traditional investor has to focus on, qualifying for a loan. If they're borrowing money from a hard money lender, then they have to focus on the equity ratio in the property. How much are they buying at a discount, if they're getting enough discount? Where when I work with homeowners direct, I don't have to focus on the ARB. I don't have to focus on the repairs. Those are down the line. What I really have to focus on is the home seller himself, because that home seller is going to become my bank. So again, that home seller is going to become my bank. So all my priority and energy goes into building rapport with the seller and understanding their situation and really trying to solve their problem so they could win and I could win. So what I do at Mr. No Fluff, the investment side of the business, is that I'm the pawn shop of real estate, and I provide debt relief or problem relief to motivated home sellers. And in return, sellers love me because I'm able to solve their problem, and in return for me, I'm able to make a profit. So this is what I call the win-win situation. Now, many people that start in this business, they think they got to focus on everyone. No, everyone is not my audience. I only deal with motivated home sellers. So if a seller calls me and they're not my type of audience, I quickly get off the phone with them. Guys, I freestyle everything, and I'm driving, as you can see. So anyways, I quickly get off the phone with them because they're not my audience. So it's very, very important if you want to buy houses without a bank, is to know who your audience is. So my audience is what I call pawn shops. I'm the pawn shop, the people that are highly motivated. And now the way that I am able to buy my very first investment properties without going to a bank, without using credit, without using 20% down, without having the whole purchase price, is I market the homeowners direct. I focus on my audience, which is highly motivated home sellers, and then I create win-win situations where I can step into their shoes and make them monthly payments if they have a mortgage. So if they have a mortgage, I just take over their existing mortgage. Very, very simple in a nutshell, but it's very complex. But simply put, I just take over their mortgage. And if they don't have a mortgage, that's awesome too. They own their house free and clear. That's great. Then I allow them to become my bank also by them becoming my lender. So in both situations, doesn't matter if they own their house free and clear, they don't own a mortgage, or if they have a mortgage, I allow the seller to become my bank, even if they have a mortgage on the property, because all they have to do now is let me just step into their shoes and make the monthly payments for them. Okay, so this is the very first way that I bought my very first investment property, was that I stepped into the seller's shoes and I started making the payments. And it was a seller, they were married, husband and wife, 2 kids. They were going to a divorce. It was a beautiful home. They actually had renovated it. They'd done a lot of great work to it. It had a pool, tile floorings. I mean, the bells and the whistles, right? And so all I did was, they were behind 2 months, going into the 3rd month. All I did is just make the 2 months payments, pay the 3rd months, and then just move in, right? And that was it, because I bought the very first property, my investment property, as a property for my own personal home to live in. Okay, so back in 2006, 4th quarter, I don't know if you guys remember, the market had melted down, and Big Brother, the government, was giving $10,000 to anyone that bought their very first home. And so that's what I did. I bought it as my first home. I got the tax credit, and many months later, or I'm sorry, years later, I ended up just turning that property into a rental property, and later I exited. So my very first investment property was a property that I was gonna live in because I didn't know anything about real estate. My mom and my dad are illiterate. My parents are refugees to America. My dad sold ice cream in an ice cream truck. So I didn't have the expertise and someone to ask. So my very first thing was to decrease my risk, was to just go ahead and buy it for my own very property. I figured, why not? The government's giving $10,000 in tax credit, and I'm also just stepping in the seller's shoes. The other option was just to get a loan from a bank and just buy investment properties. But in that time, 2007, 2008, the banks had already seized up credit, and they were not lending to anyone. Even though I had great credit, I had a lot of money in the bank, and I could have bought the houses for cash, they weren't lending to me. And not only to me, to many other people, because they just had a market meltdown. Banks were going belly up, and you and I had to bail out the stinky bankers. So, which was a great opportunity. It was a great blessing, because it taught me to this new skills that I'm sharing with you. Now, if you want to buy houses direct from home sellers, one of the most important things is how to find these sellers. Okay, how can you find these sellers that are your audience, your pawn shop? Then another next important thing is, how do you structure these deals? Because it's very simple to say, oh, I'm just going to step into their shoes, make the payments, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on to this. Another important idea is, how do you negotiate with these sellers? So structuring it, how do you negotiate to create a win-win? Because the seller has to win too. It's just not about you winning. The seller has to win, you have to win. And you have to learn how to negotiate because, the seller doesn't want to become your bank. They don't want to do that. They want all their money now. Okay, every seller that I ever met, they all want their money now. So it's your ability to be able to negotiate and create a win-win situation that's going to allow the seller to go with these strategies. So a couple of main ideas that if you want to buy your very first investment property without a bank is you got to know where to find these sellers and who are your audience. And then 2, your ability to structure these deals because every deal is different. And then 3, how to negotiate because there's not one seller that I ever met in my life that says, look, I'm willing to sell my house, 50 cents on a dollar. Look, I'm willing to sell my house and just let you take over the payments. No seller that I've ever met in my life, the very first time I talked to them, they said, look, man, I'll let you just take over my payments, man. No seller I ever met that says, look, I'm willing to sell my house worth 100 for 50. No, it took negotiation. It took how to structure the deals. And that's why many people are missing because they may find motivated sellers and they don't have those skills. So what if these 3 things I said are part of your problems? Maybe you don't know how to negotiate. Maybe you don't know how to structure these deals. Maybe you don't know how to find these motivated sellers. Then I highly recommend joining me in our weekly meetings right from your computer, Saturdays from 10 to 11. I answer all your questions. I hold your hand during that time. And we do a lot of live negotiation. That's right, you hear my students negotiating with sellers to get terms, to get owner financing where the seller becomes your bank. Okay. We also show you and let you download my one of my top selling courses for pennies on a dollar called Flipping Wednesdays. So whenever you're part of our group called Profit Sharing, we let you download one of our successful tools that shows you how to find motivated sellers. Again, motivated sellers, not any seller, motivated sellers in your own city, in your own backyard, without spending no money in marketing. Yep, I know it's hard to understand and hard to believe because everyone out there and their mama wants you to spend all your money. But I've came here to America as a refugee and I use creativity and imagination. And I'm going to let you download that. And Flipping Wednesdays will show you how to find people in your own backyard for free without spending any money in marketing. I know it's hard to believe, but so is buying houses subject to. So is buying houses owner financing. So is buying houses 50 cents on a dollar. It's hard to believe that someone's going to sell you their home 50 cents on a dollar. It's hard to believe that someone is going to start a business and not work in a cubicle. It's hard to believe that someone can start a business without debt. Guys, I've done all of this stuff, and I'm here to tell you that traditional way of thinking only leads into traffic, only leads into begging, only leads into limitations. But creativity, imagination, a way of thinking leads to freedom because whatever you could imagine, you can create. So if you're interested in joining in our meetings to how to find these motivated sellers, how to structure, how to negotiate, then I highly recommend joining MrNoFluff.com. Again, MrNoFluff.com, profit sharing coaching. We meet once a week, every Saturdays, 4 meetings a month. You get to ask all the questions with me personally and in a live small group settings, and you get to see my other students' successes. You also get to see my other students' failures live, and you're able to talk to them so you don't make the same mistakes. And you can see other students going out there and taking action, and where other students don't take action and don't get any results. So you can see it live, right? This is not an REI club where you guys come and I sales pitch you products. No, I don't do that. This is not an REI club where you have to pay 20, 30 bucks to get in and then sit in traffic and drive 30 minutes. No. And there's a sales pitch. No. This is somewhere where you come in and my interest is for you to do deals. Again, let me say this again. My only primary mission is for you to do deals, because when you do deals, 2 things will happen. You get a check and I get a check. If you don't do deals, I don't get a check. Simple as that. So if you're interested in joining profit sharing, every Saturday go to MrNoFluff.com. Again, MrNoFluff.com is only $119 a month. Very, very simple, $119 a month. That's about $30 per meeting, okay? But again, these meetings are not where you come and you get sales pitched like all the REI clubs that I've been to all over America, from Colorado to Las Vegas to Denver to California, where they all try to sell you something. There is no sales pitch in these. As soon as the time starts, we're working on your deals. I'm listening to live calls from you. I'm helping you negotiate with sellers. I'm helping you find sellers. And end of the day, when you do deals is when I do deals. So I'm looking forward to meeting you, every single one, but there is a catch. Not everyone will qualify, right? You need to have at least these minimum requirements. You need to have a positive mindset. I can't tell you the number of people I've kicked out of profit sharing that were amazing people, but they didn't have the positive mindset. And then two, you got to be hungry. You got to be able to take action, right? And three, you got to be coachable. I can't count all the people that I've kicked out of the program because they were not coachable. I tell them to go right and they went left. And then they would spend an hour explaining to me why they went left instead of right. No one got time for that. I have a downloadable, proven system. All you got to do is get on the bike and pedal. You got to follow the instructions. And if you're able to do that, then and you're able to put action in, then more than likely you're going to have success. Now, I can't guarantee it because everyone's different. But if you want to be your dreams, Mr. No Fluff is the real deal. I've been my dreams since I came to America. I've never had a job, never had a resume, never begged the man, never sit in traffic. And I've taught the same exact system to so many of my students, and they're having so much success. So if you want to be your dreams, I'll see you this Saturday. Peace.